India is the third largest energy consumer on the planet, but it operates with a significant geographical vulnerability. Nearly 90% of the crude oil powering its economy comes from outside its borders. This chart shows exactly what that dependency costs. India spends about $74 billion a year on its entire national defense. Its crude oil import bill is almost double that, $137 billion. Because of this, every time global oil prices spike, billions of dollars leave the country, the rupee weakens, and inflation hits every household. To break this cycle, the country needs a power source that runs at full capacity, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, without relying on fossil fuels. Nuclear energy is the obvious candidate. But building standard nuclear plants runs straight into another geographical wall. India has very limited domestic reserves of natural uranium. If the government simply imported the fuel to run conventional reactors, they would just be trading a reliance on foreign oil for a reliance on foreign uranium. In May 1974, under Prime Minister Indira Gandhi, India conducted its first underground nuclear tests. The global community responded by forming a strict supplier group to block the country's access to nuclear materials. For over 30 years, India was completely locked out of the global market. Scientists could not import enriched uranium fuel, and they could not acquire advanced reactor technology. Decades earlier, the architect of India's nuclear program, Dr. Homi Bhabha, anticipated this exact problem. He realized that while the country lacked uranium, its coastlines held an alternative. The dark monazite sands on the beaches of Kerala, Tamil Nadu, and Odisha contain a mineral called thorium. Today, India holds roughly 25% of the world's known thorium reserves. There is a major physical catch. Unlike uranium, thorium is not fissile. You cannot just put it into a reactor and split its atoms to create heat. It has to be processed and converted into a different material before it can generate a single watt of power. Completely cut off from global supply chains, Indian scientists had to design an indigenous, three-stage architectural workaround to turn this inert beach sand into usable nuclear fuel. The first phase of this design relies on pressurized heavy water reactors. Most reactors need artificially enriched uranium to maintain a chain reaction, but India did not have the technology to enrich it. By using heavy water, which slows down atomic particles without absorbing them, scientists were able to generate electricity using the unenriched natural uranium pulled straight from their own limited mines. As this natural uranium burns, something highly useful happens to the leftover waste. The stable uranium-238 isotopes absorb flying neutrons and slowly decay into plutonium-239. For decades, India's Stage 1 reactors have functioned as hidden factories. While generating electricity, they have quietly stockpiled plutonium to fuel the second stage of the plan. In April 2026, the prototype fast breeder reactor at the Kalpakkam nuclear complex successfully achieved criticality, meaning it successfully initiated a self-sustaining nuclear chain reaction. Look inside this reactor's core and you won't find raw uranium. It runs on mixed oxide fuel made from the plutonium stockpiled during Stage 1. Because this specific reactor does not use heavy water to slow things down, neutrons fly outward from the burning plutonium at 20,000 kilometers per second. This is the fast in fast breeder. Those surplus fast neutrons slam into a dense outer blanket of uranium-238 surrounding the core. As the blanket absorbs the impact, the atoms physically transform into brand new plutonium. The core burns fuel, and the outer blanket makes fuel. This engineering setup allows the reactor to manufacture more nuclear material than it consumes, while simultaneously putting electricity onto the grid. Establishing a working Stage 2 reactor is what finally enables Indian scientists to tap into their coastal sand reserves. Once enough plutonium is bred, engineers will replace the uranium blanket with thorium-232. The high-speed neutrons will strike this thorium blanket, gradually transmuting it into uranium-233, a highly potent nuclear fuel. Mastering the physics of the fast breeder reactor provides the mechanism to convert thousands of tons of inert sand into the specific isotopes required to launch Stage 3. The final stage of the plan is to build a fleet of advanced heavy water reactors that run entirely on the uranium-233 bred from domestic thorium. This diagram illustrates the scale of the potential energy. India possesses 8.5 lakh tons of thorium. Converted properly, that material holds enough power to supply the country's energy needs for the next 400 years. significantly exceeding the total combined energy potential of the oil reserves in the US, Iran, and Saudi Arabia. Running a national power grid on domestic thorium removes the requirement to buy foreign crude oil. It shields the Indian economy from Middle Eastern supply chain conflicts, volatile price shocks, and currency inflation. Executing this final stage reverses India's macroeconomic status. A country that currently spends a massive portion of its wealth importing fuel can transition into a sovereign, self-sustaining global energy exporter. The progress at the Kalpakkam complex provides the technical foundation for the government's current energy policy. The administration aims to reach 100 gigawatts of electrical capacity from nuclear power by 2047. Because this closed fuel cycle recycles its own waste and generates zero carbon emissions, it serves as the backbone of India's international commitment to reach net zero emissions by 2070. 70 years ago, resource scarcity and strict geopolitical isolation forced Indian scientists to draft a complex theoretical workaround. Today, that architecture is a functioning reality, securing the country's path to